the last 200 years, we have actually seen a total reversal, and in a way, a return to what we knew about population from 200 years ago. That is until the writing of Malthus back in the 18th century. Population was always considered a resource, just like what we're talking about now. But since Malthus' writing in this book called The Principle of Population essay, the whole understanding of population and society resources was reversed upside down, which is population was increasingly known as a burden, and instead of resources. And that kind of the thinking that drove much of the world in the last 200 years until now. And so Malthus was writing when population growth was happening in England after Industrial Revolution, and he actually underestimated the extent, the speed of the world population growth. And we've seen actually in the last, just like say, 100 years or so, unprecedented population growth in the world. In the last 100 years, the world population nearly tripled, right? And so the world has never seen so many people growing so fast in such a short time period. And so the concern in the last 200 years after the writing of Malthus was too much population growth, which indeed happened. But now we are entering in a totally different era, as if we were returning to 200 years ago, before Malthus' writing. That is, we are again treating population as resources. We're concerned about fertility decline, the shrinking of the world population, and population aging. This is something that has not happened in human history at the population level, right? So if we look at what really happened in the last 100 years or even 50 years, what we're seeing is really a happy story with a unhappy kind of consequences, which is the happy story is the population grew in the world so rapidly because of mortality decline, because of the lengthening of human life. So we're really looking at from 1950 to the early part of this century, in 60 years, the average lifespan increased by 20 years, from something in the middle of the 40s to the middle of the 60s. So it is because of this unprecedented improvement in human health, in longevity, that the world population grew. But again, now we're returning to a new era where fertility dropped to much of the world, half of the world population. The country's fertility is now below what's called the replacement level. And so we're really entering into a new era, kind of going back to what Malthus was writing in 200 years ago.